The air was heavy with grief. The wailing of mourners filled the compound as Sophia's casket was lowered into the ground. Her husband Emeka stood there like a broken man, his face blank with shock. He didn't even have the strength to cry anymore. Beside him stood Lucy, dressed in all black, her face marked with sorrow. But behind those teary eyes, hidden behind the dark veil, was something sinister, a flicker of satisfaction. As the final shovel of earth covered the grave, Lucy's lips curved into the faintest of smiles. Nobody noticed, nobody suspected. She had won, or so she thought. Sophia and Lucy met in secondary school, and from the very first day, they were inseparable. They ate together, walked home together, even wore matching outfits whenever they had the chance. Their bond was so strong, but one thing always stood out. Sophia's life was effortlessly perfect, while Lucy's was riddled with misfortunes. Sophia's parents were wealthy and doted on her. Whatever she wanted, she got. Lucy, on the other hand, came from a struggling family. Her father was a carpenter, and her mother sold food by the roadside. While Sophia's biggest problem was deciding which designer bag to carry to school, Lucy worried about where her next school fees would come from. At first, Lucy ignored the differences. After all, she loved her friend. But as they grew older, the envy in her heart grew too. Why was life so easy for Sophia? Why did everything fall into place for her? Was she just lucky, or was there something more? Life continued like that until they graduated from university. Sophia was beautiful, intelligent, and full of grace. She attracted wealthy suitors who wanted to marry her. Excited, she would always run to Lucy to share the news. "Lucy, guess what? Tunde proposed to me yesterday," she had said one evening, her face glowing with joy. Lucy smiled, but something about the smile didn't feel right. Tunde, that guy? Sophia, don't be deceived though. I heard he's a womanizer. You deserve better. Disappointed, Sophia turned down Tunde's proposal. Then came Choka, another wealthy suitor. Once again, Lucy found a reason why he wasn't good enough. By the time Emeka came into Sophia's life, Lucy had already rejected 2 men on her behalf. But something about Emeka felt different. He was kind, respectful, and above all, he came from a very good home. For the first time, Sophia ignored Lucy's advice and secretly accepted his proposal. Lucy was livid. "You mean you agreed to marry him behind my back? So my opinion means nothing to you?" Lucy fumed. Sophia laughed. Lucy, must I reject every man because you say so? I love Emeka and he loves me too." Lucy forced a smile. "Some people are just lucky in this world," she muttered under her breath. Sophia's wedding was the talk of the town. Emeka spared no expense in making it grand. As expected, Lucy was her maid of honor, standing right beside her, smiling for the cameras. But deep inside, her heart burned with bitterness. She had always dreamt of this day, but not as a bridesmaid. She wanted to be the bride. And if she couldn't have that, she wanted Sophia's happiness to crumble. As the years passed, Sophia's life blossomed even more. She had 2 beautiful children, a loving husband, and a home filled with laughter. Meanwhile, Lucy was still single. No man seemed to take her seriously. The envy in her heart turned into hatred. Determined to have Emeka, Lucy started visiting his office with home-cooked meals. "Lucy, you didn't have to," Emeka would say politely. What are friends for? Your wife is pregnant. You work so hard. You need someone to take care of you," Lucy replied, her voice soft and inviting. But Emeka was not a fool. He felt something off about Lucy and warned his wife. "Sophia, I don't like the way Lucy is always around me. There is something about her energy that doesn't feel right." Sophia laughed. "Lucy, don't say that, my love. She's my best friend, my sister." Emeka sighed. "Just be careful, Sophie." Lucy, realizing Emeka was beyond her reach. "Sophia is the only obstacles that I have," she muttered to herself. "I must get rid of her." She sought help from a witch doctor. The old man gave her a mysterious substance and told her exactly how to use it. Rub it on your palm and pat it on her back while hugging her. The rest will be history," the old man advised. A week later, she visited Sophia, who had just delivered her third child. When she hugged her, she subtly rubbed the substance on her friend's back. 2 days later, Sophia collapsed in her home. Her husband drove like a madman, rushing her to the hospital. But by the time she reached the hospital, she was gone. Cause of death? Low blood pressure, the doctors said. Lucy smiled to herself. Now the path was clear. Emeka was shattered and almost lost his mind. The pain of losing his beloved wife was unbearable, and he struggled to function. He became withdrawn, drowning in grief, and barely paid attention to anything else. His children were his only source of comfort, but even they could not fill the void left by Sophia's sudden death. After Sophia's death, Lucy wasted no time in inserting herself into Emeka's life. She was always around to help with the children, cooking meals for the grieving husband, making sure the house was in order. Everyone praised her, calling her a good friend, a blessing in Emeka's time of loss. At first, Emeka was grateful. He was drowning in sorrow, struggling to balance work and raising 3 children. But as time went on, he started noticing things that unsettled him. Lucy had taken over one of the rooms. She justifies it by saying the children need a mother figure, and they feel safe when I am around. She started wearing Sophia's clothes, her jewelries, even using her favorite perfume. One night, Emeka walked into the bedroom and saw Lucy standing in front of the mirror dressed in Sophia's nightgown, running her hands over the silky fabrics. "What are you doing?" Emeka asked, his voice sharp. Lucy turned with a soft smile. "I miss her too, Emeka. Wearing her things make me feel closer to her." Something about her words felt off, but Emeka brushed it aside. He was too tired to argue. Then one evening, Lucy made her move. She cooked Emeka's favorite meal, set the dining tables with candles, and wore a dress that clung to her cuffs. She sat beside him, closer than usual, touching his hand every chance she got. "Emeka, I know it's hard for you," she whispered, "but you need someone by your side. The children need a mother figure. We've always been close. Why fight what is natural?" Emeka's stomach twisted. He suddenly felt sick. "I think you should leave," he said firmly. Lucy blinked, startled. "What? Leave? You have done enough. I can take care of my children on my own." Lucy's eyes darkened, her lips tightening, but she forced a smile. "Of course, Emeka, if that is what you want." She left that night, but she wasn't done. If she couldn't have Emeka willingly, she would make him hers by force. That night, Lucy didn't sleep. She paced her small apartment, her mind racing with plans. Emeka had rejected her, but she wasn't going to accept defeat so easily. If charm and seduction didn't work, she needed something stronger, something that would ensure he belonged to her forever. By morning, she had a plan. Lucy visited the same witch doctor who had helped her get rid of Sophia. This time, she needed something different. "He is resisting me," she confessed. "I need him to love me. I need him to marry me." The old man nodded knowingly. "There is a way, but it's dangerous. Do you have the heart for it?" Lucy's eyes gleamed with determination. "Tell me what to do." He handed her a small bottle filled with a dark, thick liquid. "Rub this on your face before going to his house. Immediately he sees you, he will desire no other woman but you. But be warned, if he resists, his mind will start to break." The next morning, Lucy rubbed the substance on her face and went straight to Emeka's house. Immediately he saw her. The spell took full effect. He no longer spoke of Sophia or the pain of losing her. His eyes, once filled with sorrow, now gleamed with admiration whenever he saw Lucy. Within months, their relationship blossomed into a full-fledged romance. Emeka was blind to the whispers and judgment around him. His late wife's best friend had now become his lover, and soon after, his wife. The wedding was small but extravagant, and tongues wagged furiously. How could Emeka marry so soon after losing Sophia? How could he fall for her best friend? But Emeka, now under Lucy's spell, paid no attention. He saw only his new bride, convinced she was his second chance at happiness. Once Lucy moved into the house as the new Mrs. Emeka, her true colors emerged. She had secured her place, and Sophia's children became nothing more than a burden to her. She began with subtle neglect. The children, once dressed in the finest clothes, were now always in oversized, worn-out outfits. Their warm home-cooked meals now replaced with leftovers or cold snacks, while Lucy feasted on fresh, delicious meals. Then, the punishment started. If one of them spilled water or misplaced an item, Lucy would make them kneel for hours on bare tiles. The youngest, barely 5, would often cry from exhaustion, but Lucy would sneer, "Your mother is gone. No one is coming to save you." One evening, Emeka returned home earlier than expected and found his daughter Ada scrubbing the floor with tears in her eyes. "Why is she crying?" he asked, his voice laced with concern. Lucy quickly put on her innocent act. "She was rude to me, darling. I had to discipline her." Emeka hesitated, but under the charm, he dismissed his worries. "Listen to your mother, Ada," he muttered before walking away. Lucy smirked. She was untouchable now. Sophia's children were nothing but obstacles, and she had every intention of breaking them. Lucy had won, but her victory was far from complete. The children were a constant reminder of Sophia, and she despises them more each day. She knew Emeka's love for them was still strong, despite the charm's power. If she wanted full control, she needed to turn him completely against them. She started planting poisonous seeds in Emeka's mind. "Darling, they don't respect me," she sighed one evening, feigning sadness. "They refuse to listen, and even Ada told me she hates me. It's exhausting trying to love children who don't want me here." Emeka frowned but said nothing. The charm was strong, but a father's love was not so easily erased. Lucy needed something stronger, something final. One night, she snuck into Ada's room and took one of her small dresses. She burned it and collected the ashes, then visited the witch doctor again. "I need Emeka to see them as enemies," she declared. "I want him to despise them." The old man smiled wickedly, mixed the powder in his bath water. In 3 days, he would see them as a curse in his life. Lucy's heart pounded in excitement. She had already stolen Emeka from Sophia. Now she would erase Sophia's children from his heart forever. As Lucy sped down the dark, deserted road, eager to carry out the witch doctor's latest assignment, an air chill filled the car. The air grew heavy, and the temperature dropped drastically. Suddenly, a shadowy figure materialized in the middle of the road. Sophia, her spectral form born with a vengeance long denied. Lucy slammed on the brakes, but an unseen force jerked the wheels, sending the car spinning wildly until it crashed into a nearby ditch. She stumbled out, disoriented and terrified, her heart pounding in her chest. Then she heard it, a voice, cold and unyielding. "Lucy, how could you do this to your best friend? Lucy, I loved you like a sister that I never had, and the only way you could pay me back was to take my life. Now confess, Lucy, confess what you did to me." Lucy shrieked, falling on her knees, hands clutching her head. People passing by saw her trembling, pleading to an invisible force. "Please, please forgive me. I didn't mean to hurt you. I only wanted Emeka." The crowd gathered, watching in confusion as she cried and clutched at the air, as though begging an unseen tormentor. Someone recognized her and ran to call Emeka. When Emeka arrived, Lucy's sobs turned into wails. "I killed her. I killed her. I charmed her and used charms to make you mine." The moment the words left her lips, a sharp gasp escaped Emeka. A sudden fog lifted from his mind, and he staggered backward, horrified. "What have you done?" Before anyone could react, Lucy let out an ear-piercing scream. Her body convulsed violently, her eyes rolled back, and she collapsed into the dirt, laughing and sobbing at the same time. Then madness overtook her. She tore her clothes, spoke in gibberish, and ran wildly into the night, disappearing into the darkness. A strange calm filled the air. Emeka felt a weight lift from his heart. The torment was over. He turned to the sky, tears brimming in his eyes. "Rest now, Sophia. From that day on, peace returned to Emeka's home. His children, once oppressed, flourished under his love and care. And as for Lucy, she was never seen again, lost in the torment of her own making, haunted by the ghost of the woman she had wronged. When you allow jealousy to take root in your heart, it can lead you down a dark and destructive path. Instead of resenting the success of others, focus on self-improvement and gratitude. No matter how well hidden an evil act may seem, the truth will always find a way to reveal itself. Betrayal and wickedness might bring temporary gain, but in the end, they lead to destruction and suffering. Thank you for watching. See you on our next story.